I want to talk about one way we can encourage ourselves to be our true self. It is very unusual. Could even say it's strange, or weird, or odd, or any word to describe this, because to say that there's a true self denies that your current self is your true self, because one is speaking in second person point of view, as if who they are isn't the person they should be, but is the person they are. So it's in a way denying like your own current existence, your own current self, your own current reality for who you are. And in a way, it's taken on this idea that there's another self, in a way a better self, not in a way of being better with just being like a better person, but a different self that is healthier, that is happier. So these two selves are in conflict. It's a very unusual point to mention this, because it sounds like made up, or sounds crazy, or it just sounds strange, that who anyone is at almost any given moment may not really be their true self. So it's to try to figure this out, it's try to work with this. It's not to go insane and have to, deny who you are and not know yourself and make things worse. No, it's to realize if any of this is true. That's all it is. And I believe one of the best ways to notice this, if there is any truth here, is to encourage yourself to be in conflict with another person. Conflict is basically two opposing forces. In this case, it's two opposing points of view. We could say there's a conflict when one person feels or thinks in a way, and another person just doesn't at all, and in fact will be in opposition. So it's opposing each other, right? That's what conflict is. If you had a point of view and another person had a point of view, and they were different than each other, but they weren't opposing, meaning it's like, I don't agree and you don't agree, but we're not like, we don't really care enough to make it a problem or an issue or something to even get into. It's like that's not a conflict. You could have any different point of view, and it doesn't have to be a conflict. It's only a conflict when it's made into a problem. Now, problems aren't bad. Problems are good. But generally, these type of problems become like heated. It becomes like not healthy. It becomes something that's, it seems like it's not about the so-called problem that it began to be with, or began as. It's like, then what is it about? Well, it doesn't seem like it's about that. Why so much anger? And this is what I'm talking about. When our opinions or our viewpoints with another person conflict, that it becomes like, well, let's argue this, right? Let's argue about this. And this is what is to be encouraged. I know it sounds a little backwards, like why would we want to encourage this type of conflict? But this can help you to realize your attachment. Your attachment to be important. You see, when one isn't really feeling that important about themselves, what happens is their opinions are trying to prove something. It's not that their opinions are trying to prove the information. Their opinions are trying to improve, their opinions are trying to prove their own worth. And this is why this stuff becomes a problem. And this is why it's so important to have conflict, so we could at least see the truth. Because if the truth was, no, the information is correct, and your information is wrong, let me help you to understand, or let me elaborate a little bit, or at least let me try to figure out how to relate this, because maybe I'm not able to explain it in such a way that makes sense, or to your level, or to your ability. I don't know. It's about the information. It's like, okay, can't we just take our time with that? Can't we figure it out? But we could see it's not about the information. It's about being right. It's about proving. And we can know this is the truth because it gets heated. It gets in a way toxic. And toxic is like, like, what are you doing? Why are you yelling? Why are you screaming? Why are you insulting? Why are you being passive aggressive? Right? Why are you basically being dismissive or condescending or just arrogant? Why? Because it's not about the information. Another sense of self is feeling threatened. And when someone's feeling threatened, they're going to be defensive. They're going to argue. They're going to, basically get another back, or anything that's like this. And this is called just protecting themselves. So this will help you to see that you struggle. It's not struggling to know more truth. It's not struggling to understand different perspectives and share a perspective. That's not the struggle. The struggle is how one is feeling about themselves. So this is to be encouraged. If we want to find out who we are and even why we are, have conflict. This is what's required to see if you could understand another person. It's not about understanding ourselves, because when we're in a conflict, we already understand our point of view. This is why it's a problem, because we're not trying to understand another person. So having a conflict will be able to see the truth. What is this about? Being unwilling to seek truth is trying to be right. It's somebody that's stuck. They're stuck with just avoiding being wrong, right? Because that feels bad. Why would being wrong feel bad? Being wrong feels bad because one's opinions are challenging, or are being challenged to be important. But that sense of importance is coming from how they actually feel about themselves. And because they don't feel about themselves that good, they're going to use opinions. They're going to use thought, right? They're going to use this stuff to give themselves meaning. If they actually had meaning with who they are, their opinions and thoughts would still give them meaning, but it wouldn't be a struggle. See, it's only a struggle with where the opinions and thoughts are coming from that defines how they actually feel about themselves. So being right just means you're unwilling to feel wrong, which is how somebody feels about themselves. It's like their information isn't wrong. When somebody's wrong, it's like, this is why they get so angry. It's not that their information is wrong, that they're mad about. It seems like that. It's like, oh, so you're wrong. You thought that all the entire time, and you're wrong. Or, you know, there's proof that you're wrong. We have evidence. It's like, it's not that somebody's feeling like, oh man, my information's wrong. That sucks. Damn, I really thought this the whole time. Or, damn, I thought I had better evidence. Or, I just thought I knew the truth. No. Because they'd be able to be mad about that, and be angry, and be disappointed, and be like, damn, I wish I like knew it the right way. I kind of feel stupid, or maybe they feel embarrassed. But they'd be able to get over it. And they'd want to seek towards the truth and have a conversation about it. Well, teach me. They'd be receptive. But they're not receptive. They're angry. They're not angry about where they got the information that was wrong or how it was taught to them was wrong. It's like, no. It's so much anger because they feel like who they are is a wrong human. Their existence, about how they feel about themselves, is wrong. Anger is rarely about not knowing truth, right? Frustration, anxiety, tension, stress. It's rarely about not knowing the truth. It's about how somebody feels. Aren't those like stressful moments? Are those good feelings? No, they're not good feelings. But it's not that you're not supposed to have not good feelings. No, you're supposed to have bad feelings. But it's not about anything other than how somebody feels about themselves. This is the conflict. This is the actual struggle. So when I say, hey, I want to encourage conflict, I'm basically saying I want to encourage the conflict about how you feel about yourself. I want to encourage that so you can see it. So therefore, the struggle can easily be seen since it's about themselves. It's not about the information. It's about not feeling good enough. So this isn't to encourage conflict with another. When I say, hey, I want to encourage conflict, I want to encourage like your opinion and another person's opinion to kind of, have opposition. You say something, they say something, and it's like, no, I don't agree, and see where it goes. I'm not saying have conflict with another. What I'm trying to say is have conflict with yourself. But you can't have conflict with yourself if you're not with another. I mean, not that you couldn't, there's ways, but generally speaking, when we say we're in conflict with another person, well, it's opposing points of view. And you can't have opposing points of view with yourself. That's very difficult to have. I mean, you could, but it's not going to bring about... I don't believe it would bring about the same change. I don't know. Maybe it could. Maybe it could bring about the same, realization. Like, oh, this is what's happening. Maybe. I'm not going to say that's not possible. But I think... because when we live our lives with other people, we can see the way we're being in real time. This is real now. This isn't just by ourselves. This isn't just in our own head. This isn't just with how we're thinking alone. This is thinking with another. This is thinking with another human being that has their own thoughts, opinions, ideas, feelings, experiences, right? This is real. This is the way it should be. This is how you get to know yourself. This is how you get to know the truth. Are you struggling with how you feel about yourself? Or do you just not know something correctly? So when I say I'm not encouraging the conflict with another, let's say another person is having this kind of conflict. I'm not saying, well, encourage the conflict and make it worse. No. You encourage a conflict so it increases the ability of that conflict being better. The second you notice yourself out of control, you have to end the conflict. You have not taken steps towards realizing yourself. And that's difficult because you're too enmeshed in this idea of being important, of feeling valued, which is a lack of love for yourself. You're too enmeshed in this. So you have to recognize that. It's not about the information. It's not about the conflict. It's about how we feel about ourselves that results in what I just mentioned. So you got to step back from it. Take a breather. Take a break. Find a way to recognize that tension and be with that tension. That tension requires your assistance. It's calling out for you. When we live a certain way or we be in a certain way, no matter what, and it's not good, it's like a problem, that's your way of realizing, wait, how come I'm not noticing this? This is how I'm being right now. This is how I'm thinking. This is my attitude? Wow, wait a second. What is all this doing for me? Then you get to see yourself a little bit more clearer because you gave yourself the opportunity to be in a situation that's uncomfortable in order to see yourself. But when we aren't noticing this, well, I wonder where that's going to take us. Happy times? Nah, I don't think so. And I'm not saying to encourage conflict with another when it's making it worse. When another person is also struggling, right? This isn't to judge. It's not to say, well, you're struggling about yourself. No, because if you do that, then you're still struggling. People who struggle disrespect, they insult, they're arrogant. You know, that's all protection. It's all making themselves feel better about themselves. When another's struggling, whether it is about how they feel about themselves or not, what we have to do is not make it worse. And watch how they may not be able to stop. None of this is easy. None of this is to point the finger and blame. None of this is to judge, criticize. No, it's to recognize the truth. It sucks not feeling good about yourself. That sucks. But if you don't recognize it, it just stays the same. It doesn't go away. So all this is to notice yourself. Another has to notice themselves. The only way to truly grow is to self-recognize. So only by truly seeing yourself like this, which is called struggling. We're struggling. We have to recognize it's not about the information. It's not. You're not seeking truth. You're not trying to understand. It's about you. And only then could this reveal the truth about your own suffering. It's suffering. Suffering is negativity. Suffering is, I can't handle this. Suffering is, this is too much. Suffering is all the stress. Suffering is anxiety. Suffering is unnecessary tension. Suffering is oh my gosh, I feel like I want to explode. That's suffering. People sometimes call that normal. They adapt to it. They think it's okay. This is how relationships are. This is how friendships are. This is how a workplace is. This is This is how people treat each other. I mean, if you notice it, you get the mind to acknowledge it. The mind may not completely agree. Notice that it may distract you, it may deny it, it may just... But notice all of that's all negative. It's negative towards yourself. It's like, why can't you be positive? Just pay attention. Be patient. Be willing. Where's love? And therefore, when you start to notice it, you're going to start to go through all the tension. You're going to start to go through like, well, my mind's going to redirect me. It's not going to help me focus. But that's good, because then you get to see more truth. You get to see, why is it difficult? Why can't I pay attention? Well, you're on the right path. The right path is going against what's uncomfortable. It's not to make things worse and not to add fuel to the fire to all this, but it's to recognize, wow, there's something going on here. And that's the direction you want to go in a healthy way. Therefore, you get to be more the real you. Because the current you, right? The current you that's like this. There's feelings about you that aren't well. There's emotions about you that are unresolved, right? There's all this protection. It's like, you really think that's like the you want to be? You want to agree to that? You can. People say, this is me. This is how I feel. This is the way I am. They agree to their own unhealthy sense of self, which is basically unconscious beliefs. How they actually really feel about themselves. This is what they are following, which is unhealthy beliefs. And it all comes down to just not feeling good enough and not even realizing it.